With Sweden poised to become the 32nd member of NATO, President Biden avoided what could have been a serious headache throughout the NATO summit. A short time ago, I spoke with the Swedish Prime Minister about Ukraine's desperate push to follow in Sweden's footsteps. And in this CNN exclusive, he shed some light on President Biden's role in clearing the path for Sweden to join.
We have felt a very strong support and commitment from the United States and from President Biden all the time, and very explicitly illustrated by the invitation to the White House last week. So we really feel a strong support from major NATO allies, including, of course, our neighboring countries. But the details between other countries, I cannot really tell. We have had good negotiations between Sweden and Turkey and the NATO system itself on fighting terrorism. That has been the main question for our discussions.
Prime Minister, you mentioned seeking protection as one of the main goals in your joining the alliance. We've repeatedly heard tough talk from the Kremlin about Sweden and Finland joining NATO. And today, Dmitry Peskov, a spokesperson for the Kremlin, said that there would be countermeasures. Do you read that as a threat? What is your level of concern?
Well, we are quite used to those threats and that kind of threats. They have been repeated by the Russians all the time against Sweden and against Finland, so that is nothing new. But of course, we are concerned by disinformation, by other ways of trying to engage in an illegitimate way into Swedish politics, of course. But I think we are strong. People are almost immune against that kind of propaganda. So I think we will handle this as well, and not least since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Everybody in the world, including Russia, they know where we stand. They know that we are on Ukraine's side in this war, that we help Ukraine in different ways. So becoming a NATO ally is a very natural step as well.
What should NATO's approach then be to ending the war? Do you believe that the West needs to offer Vladimir Putin an off-ramp toward a ceasefire?
Well, I don't have any other view than most other countries right now. We stand on Ukraine's side. Ukraine must win on their terms. The war must end, and Ukraine's future must lie in the hands of the Ukrainians. All these are fundamental principles. That also is the reason why we always repeat the fact that Ukraine is not only fighting the war for itself, it's also fighting the war for all other European and other democracies that want to decide the future by themselves. So I think this is an extremely important task, and we will do what it takes to continue our help to Ukraine.
On that note, winning on Ukraine's terms, at least publicly from President Volodymyr Zelensky, has meant retaking Crimea. And military experts say that that would require a level of investment in Ukrainian forces that to this point has not been made. Are you, as part of NATO now, prepared to make those significant investments? And does it worry you that it could lead to a further escalation with Russia?
Well, very many NATO countries are providing Ukraine with different kinds of material, weapons, including Sweden, of course. And that was also a historic decision in Sweden to start doing so. But we have done it in a pretty impressive way, if I may say myself, and we continue to do that. So I think that's the right way of doing it. And of course, the Ukrainians, they realize they need even more, and they are very precise in what they wish, and I think we have done our share of that, and we continue to do our share of that. But obviously, different countries, all countries have to make their own decisions on that. But here at the NATO summit, we feel a very strong support for Ukraine for very natural reasons.
So not long ago, Jens Stoltenberg said that NATO would invite Ukraine to join the alliance when conditions are met. What are those conditions?
Well, I have to be honest, Sweden, we are not yet a full member of NATO, so I will not go into, I won't, as a non-member so far, I will not have any views on how NATO as an organization should act in relation to another country which is not a NATO member. So I think that is a reasonable and necessary principle for me right now. We support Ukraine in many different ways, and we do it together with other countries as well. But we don't have any views on how NATO right now should act in relation to Ukraine.
Well, there are significant concerns from the White House, for example, about domestic corruption within Ukraine. And National Security spokesperson John Kirby told CNN this morning that Ukraine would need to work on those issues in order to be part of the alliance that you will soon join. Do you have concerns about corruption in Ukraine?
Well, as I said, on the relation between NATO and Ukraine, Sweden does not have any opinions of our own. What I can say, though, is that since we've had the same discussion on Ukraine's cooperation and accession to the European Union, I've been following that extremely closely, being the Swedish presidency. And regarding that, there were set up some criteria for Ukraine to make progress within, to be able to start the negotiations. And there will be a full report during fall this year on how these criteria are developing. And I think most countries, at least in the European Union, are very impressed by the ability from the Ukrainians to deliver results on these areas in spite of an ongoing war. So basically I do believe in Ukraine, but I will stick to not having any opinions on how NATO should act in regards to Ukraine.
Our thanks to Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson for taking the time during that busy day of NATO diplomacy.